Men in fairy tales are often the worst, but this one has a super green flag. Like, seriously, men take note. It's an epic love story from what is now Bangladesh and eastern India. It involves dancing fairies, a male lead who is emotionally devoted and musically talented, and willing to cross dimensions for his love. It's called the Rose of Bakawali. Indra, who in Hindu mythology is the god of thunder and storms, has a kingdom up in the sky where a bunch of immortals live with him. Sometimes the text refers to them as jinn, sometimes as fairies. All they do is party in this world, and his fairies and jinn dance before him every day, and one day he notices that this girl, Bakawali, is missing. Indra's like, where is she? And he finds out that she's fallen in love with a human man. His name is Taj ul Muluk, and she spends all her time with him and is just obsessed. This angers Indra, so he sends a bunch of fairies in a golden chariot down to Earth to go get her. She's sleeping in the garden with her man, and they're like, girl, you gotta come with us, and so she does. Indra says that she needs to be thrown into a fire so that her body might lose the odor which contact with a mortal had imparted to it. So the fairies put her in a furnace, reduce her to ashes, but then they recite a charm over a basin of water with her ashes in it, and they bring her back to life. Now she's purified, so she goes back to dancing in front of Indra. But as soon as all of that is over, she sneaks back to her man, and she does that day after day after day. Getting caught, like having to be burned to ashes and brought back to life every single day, but she doesn't care because she wants to be with her man that much. Well, he has no idea any of this is going on until one night he wakes up and she's not there, and he's like, that's weird. So the next night when they go to bed together, he cuts his finger and rubs salt in the wound so the pain will keep him awake, and he pretends to be asleep. He sees the fairies come and put her in the chariot, so he sneaks in the back, grabs the back of the chariot, and holds on as it zooms up to the immortal realm in the sky. Then he hides and he watches them burn his woman alive, bring her back to life, and figures out everything that's been going on. As he's sneaking and watching everything happening, he passes by this old musician who's like tired and can't play anymore, and he's like, hey, I'll play your instrument for you. And he's like, cool. And it doesn't say what instrument it is, I don't know. But our dude plays it so well that Indra is so pleased he like gives him this necklace. Doesn't say how he gets back to Earth. I'm assuming he like rides on the back of the chariot again, but back when he's back at Earth with his woman, he's like, look, I went, I followed you, I know what's going on, I have this necklace as proof that I was there. Like, I know, I'm sorry, I have to go through this every night. And he's like, that's okay, I'm gonna find a way to go with you. So the next night he does go with her, and she presents him to Indra like, hey, remember this amazing musician? Indra's like, oh yeah, you were cool. So he plays, and he's so good that her dancing looks even more beautiful. And at the end of the dance, Indra says, ask me for anything and I'll give it to you. So Bakawali says, great king, all I want is for you to give me this musician and let me go. Indra is so mad. He does not want to do this, but he gave his word. So he's like, okay, I'll let you go, but for 12 years, the lower half of your body is going to be made of marble. Bet you did not see that coming. She immediately transforms. Half of her body from the bottom down is marble now, and then she disappears, and our dude has to go find her. But first he rolls upon the ground in the heavenly world in excess of grief, and then the fairies feel bad for him, and so they like take him back down to Earth. He wanders, asking every tree to direct him to where his love is. One day he falls asleep by this pool, and a bunch of fairies come down and they're washing their hair in the pool because I guess they like earth water. And they're like, oh, that's the musician of Bakawali. And hearing her name, he wakes up and he's like, hey, do you know where I can find her? That his love and desperation melts their hearts. And they're like, okay, we'll help you. We haven't seen her, but there's this temple in Ceylon with closed gates during the day that only open at night that we think she might be there. It's like, okay, how do I get there? And they're like, oh, well, since you're a human, you'd have to like travel your whole life and you still wouldn't reach it. And so he immediately starts dashing his head against stones. And again, the fairies feel so bad for him and so moved by his love that they're like, okay, dude, we'll just take you. So they literally just pick him up and take him there. Not directly to the temple. They take him to this city, and he goes asking around, like, what kind of temples are there around here? Someone's like, well, there's a new one just kind of sprung up recently. It's never open during the day. And so he rushes down there. So he gets there, the doors are closed because it's day, so he sits down and waits patiently. And when night comes, the doors open for him. Ventures inside and he finds his love, half human up here and marble down there, reclining against a wall. They talk all night, but then when the sun starts to rise, Bakawali says, hey, you have to leave. If the sun touches you while you're here, you'll get turned into half marble like me. Before he does, she pulls out a pearl earring and gives it to him, and he uses that money to stay in the city for a few days and then eventually to get a job, and he ends up building this life in the city so that he can go be with her every night. Even though she's half marble, it's just to be with the woman he loves and talk to her. Thus, the 12 years rolled away, and after the 12 years of this patience and this devotion, she finally was in human form again, and they got to be together for the rest of their lives. Technically, this story can be considered in part of the 12 dancing princesses folktale type. Even though there's only one princess, she does leave every night to go dance in another realm. Interestingly, Asian and Middle Eastern versions of this story, they often go to a heavenly realm or to heaven, whereas in European versions, they're going to an underground land, the underground chamber of the fairies, or even sometimes like literal hell. All of those stories, a man ends up following her and finding out her secret. But in this one, it's her lover, and he's following because he loves her, not some stranger that the king has hired to figure out what she's doing. She doesn't want to go. It's not a story of her trying to escape. It's her wanting to be with her man. But it's a star-crossed lovers thing because she's a djinn fairy and he's a human. They both go through the trials they have to go through so they can be together. It's just a beautiful, charming story of love and devotion. I hope you enjoyed it. Oh, and you might also enjoy my book, Dust Spells, which is a retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses and also a beautiful, healthy love story with a big green flag.